Yo, 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 what is going on, COD Familia? It is your boy BN, aka Mr. K. Well, no, never mind. I'm not doing that anymore. It's just BN. Today, we are going to be diving into a potential slush pool of just interesting spice that revolves LTS, Juzu the R5, JQ Lisa, a lot of memes that have been posted. Leadership from the Alliance that apparently is migrating over to TFS and 40. Others that are migrating and will be leaving and going elsewhere. And what is this whole entire situation about here in 134? That's what we're going to be diving into today. So we're going to take a look at some memes. I'm going to show you some screenshots. We're going to hear from Juzu and JQ Lisa, who Lisa is a top player in the game and also a part of the Alliance. And yeah, then I'll give you my thoughts at the end. As always, if you enjoy the content, make sure you throw us up because it helps out a lot. Okay, so let's start with the goods. So we're going to go through some memes real quick right now. These are all in order. And I also reached out to every person that posted a meme about the situation, and I'll be showing you those screenshots shortly. So this was the first one that was posted. Then we get into leave LTS players behind and go to TFS, leave LTS players behind and go to TFS, useless and active LTS R5. Now, my reactions to the memes will only be about the memes. Like I said, I don't really know too much about the situation prior to me reaching out and asking questions. So again, if we get a chuckle, it's purely just based on what I'm reading from the meme. Just again, for clarity and transparency. LTS R5, maybe Dark let you... Are those computers? Or is that a cash register machine? His, while he's gone all the time. Inactive R4, 31 mil merits, LTS active R5. I mean, to be honest, I don't think 20 million merits is bad. Like, I look at this and I think to myself, okay, if this meme is supposed to show that, I mean, that, you know, you have an inactive R4, active R5, and it's 31 to 20. I mean, it'd be different if it was like 30 million to 2 million merits. You know what I mean? Like, that's kind of how I look at it. Because I look at 20 million merits, I think that's very respectable. Again, unless someone else has a different view on that. Next we got is POV Ward. Lead war, use Discord, helped to protect players with leading. Come online for 1 to 2 hours, spending infantry and ping players to fill rally. After this, go to Tamaris chat, or I guess world chat, and spend there all day. Okay. Talking about yourself, we got LMB here, 70 mil merits, and then I don't know who this player is, 9.6. I think this was something between like Monkey and Holy, and they were going back and forth on the Discord. Another thing about it, I probably should have taken a screenshot of the whole meme too as well, because I think that probably would have helped. So A2A says LTS taking beatings outside of KVK as well. It's a good meme. It's a good meme. None of their original accounts. But one that went above and beyond. So yeah, again, I don't see 14 mil merits, 18, almost 19, 20 mil. Like, I don't see these 26 mil merits. Like, I don't see those as being bad merit gains, right? If you're trying to make a point and say that, well, hey, these people aren't active, or they're not contributing, or they have low PvP engagement, I just don't know if those numbers exactly mean that nowadays. And again, maybe some people can provide a little bit more clarity there, right? Maybe the baseline average for everyone is 30, 40, 50 mil merits in LTS and above, and these just happen to be the bottom 4. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know that portion. But when I think about merit gains for an entire season, from what I've always known, I don't view these as bad or low numbers. Next, your account should be here, but you lost it when everyone except your friends got tired of your memes and pings for putting reactions on Discord. Okay. COD community watching meme channel right now. Messy Monkey, Holy. Hey, you got it. Oh, man. I really like how the guy, I like how some of these guys have money, though. Like, that's really generous. Let me see. POV best pilot player lost all accounts and stopped playing, but still talking a lot in COD Discord. Jeez. Try to keep LTS alive. Call everyone who left inactive and run a TFS. Or active LTS R5. Okay. I mean, it's a pretty fast turn. LTS R5, I fear no man, but that thing. That scares me. LTS and NA 2-way. I mean, that's messed up. That's messed up. What's this one? We got LTS R5. LTS will be fine. LTS players. We're recruiting players, right? What is Jason doing behind you? This, I actually thought this was like good. This was well done, in my opinion. LTS R5 thinking he can go to TFS peacefully. Sashi reminding him he's oh my gosh. LTS R5 telling TFS he is. What LTS R5? There we go. We'll get one out. I mean, it's kind of messed up though. I mean, why does the dog have to be crying? Why can't he just be a lesser version of the bigger one? I am the R5 LTS, kind of a big deal. Leaks me all day. What is LTS COD community? Jeez. Oh, God. A2A and EIS when they'll understand. It's strange, to be honest. I mean, they giving to you account, but you cannot play. I can play, but like 1 to 2. So I think this is Holy and Sashi. They did not do a good job of blocking these names out. So I could play, but like 1 to 2 hours a day all this season. I have some players' info. They told me they have accounts ready for me too. When I want to come back, A2 have account for me too. Okay. So I guess I'm confused. See, this is where it gets confusing to me now. And I say this because in this meme, it implies that the potential, right, and that's kind of how we're going to use things here, right, the suspected piloter on an account is playing 1 to 2 hours a day, but then people are saying that the R5 is inactive, in this case, i.e. Juzu. And so, you know what I mean? Like, this is where now it gets a little interesting to me on where we're hearing some conflicting pieces. And it's funny because sometimes you get a lot of your news from memes, which I know I've heard a number of people talk about as well. Interesting stuff. Last season, Holy, the LTS R5. LTS R5 now joining TFS. TFS Holy. Jeez, God, I don't get it. Is it like a continual beating? Is that what the meme is supposed to be? So we got Jay Geezy, future TFS cut list, former LTS. Messed up. That's funny. It's funny. It's messed up. Here we go. Make memes about LTS. Make memes about Chucha. I don't know who Chucha is. Cannily thinking, but muchacho more funny. What? So I can't tell if just English problem or if that's the way that the meme was supposed to be written. And if that's the case, it went over my head. LTS leadership, Josh. Oh, jeez. To be honest, it would have been nice if they put like some wind icons to indicate that the car is moving forward. I mean, maybe the car is off and it stopped and they're just waiting for Sash to go and catch up. I mean, that could be a possibility too. Okay, next one. I've been online running. I've been online running the Alliance all season. I was only gone for a week. Good try, but you were wrong. I have no idea really because there was no merit on your account. You didn't get in touch and didn't do anything. So it looks like you're offline all the time except for small periods of time. That's okay. Would have been nice to maybe get some screenshots here of like what the person means, because I don't know if it's like one way or the other way. Next, LTS chillin', Jake Easy. It's good stuff. I mean, to be fair, I haven't heard any reports that it was Jason or anyone from TFS that had reached out to LTS leadership or the members to recruit. But I also don't think I've gotten any. I mean, the way I understand it is that Juzu and anyone from LTS, I might as well get them out of this one. I slept 8 hours. Is that they ended up deciding to leave and had reached out, and then that's kind of how the conversation started. Now, if there's anything that conflicts that, I would just have to see it. LTS saying A2A is dead, Kingdom, and we'll disband LTS A2A. It's the Uno reverse, dude. Such a good meme. Just because I saw the highlight when this happened on the field, and just such an amazing sports moment, I think. Sash missing JQ's wallet. Oh, jeez. Well, we got COD community cracking jokes about LTS filling up TFS with AFK and free-to-play merit accounts. A2A fob, COD even Sod's in there, Vital, and then the Discord XA2A and TFS. Jeez. LTS G1. Jeez, man. I thought this was whoever drew. I don't know who drew this, if it was the person who posted the meme. This is a quality drawing, just in general. Yeah, I also like how this guy had to touch the pole. Next, okay, I've finally found it after 15 years. The Scroll of Truth. How to become a valued COD player. See, man, these neons are creeping. You need to be active during fights to make merits. This Jackie Chan one. Who? The FCK is LTS. New king of server 134. I don't know if that is, or they rotate, because when I checked earlier before recording, I think it was someone else. Recruiters LTS players. That's good. I didn't quite understand this one. So this looks like Holy, but you have same inactive, but you the same inactive mofo. That also killed TFS. Sashi. It looks like Juzu can come kiss my arse. Useless inactive mofo. And you had their accounts only because they were AFK and didn't saw that you're online only 2 hours per week. That think you'll lose gift from A2 and EIS after they'll notice this. Okay. Next one. Ask your alliance, put react on your memes. Make meme about Holy that not even protecting LTS. Oh, is it Shashi? I thought it was Sushi. And Holy, don't insult my RSS daddy. Sushi, I spent all the RSS. That's good. That's good stuff. Okay. So, out of all the people who did memes, I had reached out to everyone. Right? So, there hasn't been anyone at the moment that I've reached out to that hasn't, and this is just for clarity here, right? So, let me show you. So, this was Sashi. I had reached out on February 12th. However, I did not hear anything back, right? Just for transparency and for clarity. So this is what I got, right? So nothing was responded to. Next person is, I don't know who this person is. I was Kale. I just messaged them on from their name on their username, but I reached out. This was someone else who posted a meme, did not get a response back. I had also reached out to Fart Juice, but didn't get a response back. And again, it's okay. If they don't want to respond, that's fine. I'm just showing you guys this so you can see that I made an effort to reach out to the people that made memes, because I didn't really have a list of names for people that, felt that were talking or saying these things about these people, right? About the LTSR5 Juzu, etc. I had also reached out to Monkey, but that was this morning. So this was about an hour and a half ago when I had reached out. If I get a response, and I had also reached out to Holy too as well. So if I get a response from them and it is something that I think would shed additional light, it is also my fault for messaging late. I didn't go through every single meme when I had initially reached out. I went through a lot of them, but not every single one. And so I ended up finding 2 more names in this case, excuse me, with these 2 people. But if I do get a response back from either of them, and I feel that it is significant enough to do a follow-up on, I definitely will. Then let's go into now what is going to be their responses, right? So let's talk about the response from Juzu and then the response from Lisa, and then I'll show you 2 more screenshots, and I'll kind of give you my thoughts here on the situation. So initially, right, it was LTS players and Juzu R5 heading to 40 with TFS. Jason had kind of been interviewing people one by one. That's what I had heard. Fighting players were also going to be joining EDS, EIS, SSG, and then potentially TFS, right? So those are some of the landing destinations. I'm not saying that's all of them, but those are some that I heard. There was also claimed that TFS was getting bottom of the barrel players and active R5, right? These were some things that were being talked about, right? It was kind of alluded to in some of the memes. So here's the response from me asking Juzu a number of questions. So first response here, and let me see if I can read the question that I asked, because that may actually help now that I think about it. So let me go over here. Okay, so first question I asked, and these are numbered, so was, how did the decision come about to migrate out of 134? Juzutu's response: we had already planned to migrate out of 134 next season if it didn't happen this season. Too many inactive accounts weighing down the server. We needed a migration to relieve the dead weight. Purges are too difficult when members do not have permits to move. I think that makes a lot of sense. Again, we've been seeing that already from EIS. We've seen that from BXS. We've seen that from TFS. We've seen that from Echo. I mean, the list goes on alliances that left to basically go to dead kingdoms or prime real estate kingdoms that were more conducive to them rebuilding from leaning out. Number two, why migrate? And that's just because we don't have enough tools, right, in the game right now that the developers have added that would allow for less migrating out of and leaving a home kingdom to nurturing that home kingdom. Number two, why migrate out compared to asking inactives to leave, depending if that was even an option? This kind of leads in a little bit to number one. Asking inactives to leave the server only works if those accounts have required permits. Without the required permits, they would be stuck nonetheless, leaving us to burn them down or be stuck with them in the server. Thus, why a migration is inevitable for any alliance looking to stay lean and competitive. I mean, he's not wrong. I mean, it's not to say that it's the only option, but if you're weighing between plan A, which is we don't want to go anywhere, everyone else has to leave, then you have to kind of resort to somewhat aggressive decisions. And one of those can be burning down troops and zeroing people so that way your kingdom power isn't affected, which helps migration and also for KVK matchmaking. So if you think about it, and let's say you are in a position to where you can leave, you take door number two. I would argue door number two, which is gathering people, kind of solves two things. It ensures that you're bringing the inactive people, or at least those that you feel are, and that would really contribute towards a leaning out and rebuilding of a dead or inactive or low activity kingdom. And it also allows for you to rebuild that kingdom kind of from scratch, so you don't have a lot of dead weight. Number three, was the alliance aware of those that wanted to migrate, yourself included, ahead of time? When was it made public? Number three, there were a couple unhappy groups that were planning on leaving the server end of season. Most of these accounts leaving were those we recently took in the past 2 seasons. These players' decisions were made public by those players to others whom they are friends with, and so on. The decision for myself and other core players to leave was made recently, and therefore there was no notice for it. Though I should note that leadership spent many hours in VC calls talking about other options and anything else we could do before making the decision to leave. So this is where I will give some pushback. Objectively, I have to be fair. It should be something, and again, this is in the best case, is where I am always a fan of doing things ahead of time. Now, you could do things such as saying in the beginning of the season, listen, we are exploring options, or maybe 2 seasons ago, you could say, listen, we are exploring options of the possibility of looking for kingdoms in the event that we can find one that is dead, it's inactive, very low power, low players there overall, because we are considering potentially, amongst other options, on wanting to migrate out, to lean out, and to rebuild with also being able to cut dead weight. But we have not made a decision on that yet. It is just something that has been brought up, right? So you can mention those things ahead of time. And I think that's okay to do because you're not committing to anything, but you're just putting it on people's radar. So that way no one is necessarily caught off guard. It also allows people to potentially even start gathering permits more than 1 season ahead. Now, not everyone is necessarily going to think like that. Not everyone is necessarily going to feel that that is pertinent to put out there in the ether, especially if you feel satisfied. However, I would like to believe that for any competent alliances and kingdoms, they are keeping data stats and tracking season over season contributions and being able to look at all-time stats. And if you do this, you should have an idea on who is still active, who is becoming less active, who's dropping off, who are your top contributors, and then where is your kind of baseline minimum and cutoff point for people that you consider to be consistently contributing versus those that are not. And if you have this data and you are keeping track of it, you should know well in advance who is going to be the people that you want to play with versus those that you may not necessarily want to play with right now. And it could be for any number of reasons. I mean, they're bad players and maybe there's things changed in real life and they're not as active as they once were. Maybe they're losing joy. Maybe they just need a new scenery. Whatever it may be, I have to believe that this is a proper way of doing things. And so when I hear about situations like this where, look, we made kind of an impulsive decision, is kind of what I'm gathering from Juzu's response. Again, I will give some pushback there because to me, this is something you should have known, right? Now, making the decision itself on that season and coming out and saying, listen, we've now decided to do this. I guess you can feel 50-50 on that because you still have to make a decision. But you could still make that decision a little earlier, right? And that kind of goes into what I'm saying. So that's where I'm going to give the pushback on for that front is I feel as though, because we've seen this happen, there's been other kingdoms that have done this where they've given notice ahead of time, even though probably in most cases or more than half of the cases, it has been a little bit more kind of, trigger pulling. That's the one thing I will say that I would have liked to seen done earlier compared to later. Number 4. Why TFS over other alliances kingdoms? TFS was the top alliance in CoD for a majority of its existence. What they do works. I fully believe in their rebuild and the processes they have put in place to make sure they create a hyperactive competitive environment. Okay. Number 5. How many plan to migrate out of 134 to TFS if able? I cannot disclose names of numbers at this time. Some will go to TFS, some will stay 134, and then others will disperse. Number 6. How will LTS still carry on at 134, or do you foresee remaining players leaving over the next few seasons? LTS will carry on at 134 as some of our leadership is sticking around there. They will lead the players who do not wish to move or don't have the permits required to move. It will be a more casual experience than we previously had in LTS, and players are okay with that. Number 7. The memes, and some players have mentioned that as the R5, you may not have contributed as much as they would have liked to see, and that some hoping to join K40 are lower contributors going without or going with out from the alliance. Why do you think some are saying that? Are they upset by the news of migration, if sudden to them, or potentially frustrated their team is breaking up or other? So he says memes will always be just that, memes. The facts are always in the numbers. Players in LTS know that as the R5 have always been there to lead the war days in and out since season 1. I have led pretty much every war we've been in, as said above. The players unhappy this season are mostly newer players to 134. Those sticking around are OG players know what I've done for this community over the last 2 years and would never squander my name to the alliances. Players who have recently left or have been kicked from 134 may say otherwise for one emotional reason or another, but the facts will always be there to prove otherwise. Okay. And again, I think when you have a video like this coming out, oftentimes, and very similar to my other ones, this is where you kind of start getting a little bit into the weeds and people will kind of come out of the woodworks if there is anything to come out and say. Number 8, I had asked as well some follow-up questions. Where is this? Plan, yeah. So I asked a couple follow-up questions talking about, for example, given the decision was made recently for yourself and core members, does this mean that no announcement went out to ask for those interested in coming and was more of a privately selective process you and others took to choose and reach out to players you would like to bring or showed interest? This is kind of a combined response, so I actually have to go in here now. And then the second part of the question I asked was there any consideration to rebuilding a dead kingdom from scratch, or did your team feel this was the better option, and what went into that decision versus a rebuild? So he states, yes, as stated above, we went through many, many, many possibilities. Anything one could think of, we thought of and voted on. Unfortunately, most of the possibilities seemed like too steep of an uphill battle with not 100% guarantee we'd ever see the top again. There was too many factors and too many uncertainties for us to feel comfortable starting from scratch or working from the ground up again. Those coming with us, excuse me, to our new home were hand-selected from the top of our activity charts. Those who always show up have good kill merit numbers, and most importantly, those who we can count on without fail. Most of them being core members who have been with us for 1 year or longer. Okay, so kind of goes into show. Let me try not to die here. Is that it was more of a selective process, right? So it wasn't something that they had put an announcement out and said, hey, we're going to do this. And again, to each their own, right? My view on it is I am more interested in being a little bit more public, a little bit more transparent. So that way things don't kind of feel like you're catching people off guard. Kind of just a more of a, let's not try to burn all the bridges today kind of an approach, right? And again, people will have to live with the decisions that they make, right? The LTS leadership team decided this way. Okay, you'll have to live with whatever repercussions and consequences may come from that, just as much as any decision will have that one would make. Okay, now let's get into JQ Lisa's POV. This is probably going to be a little longer because there is quite a bit that she provided, and this is more or less pretty much direct quoted. And again, Juzu and Lisa gave me permission to share. So, okay, I will not be so modest here. Lol, I do not give a flying effer's kite anymore. This entire thing is because of my decision. Here is the story of deceit that occurred in LTS that is pure jealousy and people who feel entitled. I had some IRL stuff occurring, and I had a pilot on my second account. He has been my pilot for wars and prior seasons as I was on my main. The pilot had a serious IRL situation and had to quit suddenly and didn't know if he would be back. I had to make a decision on what to do as I could not be in game. It was the number 2, number 3 account in LTS. After some discussion in leadership chats, 2 R4s said they would take it. I wasn't comfortable with that, nor did anyone speak with me directly, even though I was active in Discord and all chats. I spoke with Juzu privately and asked him to take it. When I originally started the account, it was a shared account for Juzu and I to avoid cooldowns on our mains because there was a season where we both were on cooldowns for like 18 days straight, and it was brutal. Okay. This is where some started going at Juzu for accepting our shared account of 250 mil power with all heroes and artifacts awaken except Visage and all skins from Greatest Heights. One of the R4s out of the 2 seems to be pissed that Juzu took it over. Then 2 to 4 weeks later, the pilot came back and he was pissed that Juzu took over the account and was demanding it back. Isn't that interesting? Like, that's the thing, just universally, I'm not going to understand. How can you be mad on an account that is not your main? You are a volunteer, right? And it's not yours. And that is just so, just balls to the walls wild to me. I understand and I get it from the perspective of that you have been nurturing it, you've been maintaining it for however long, but you are a volunteer, right? And so for anyone, in my view, to get upset and mad that because you have to understand the whole point of someone quote unquote piloting is that you are basically volunteering your time to make up for a lack of time that the main account holder is not able to put into the account for that period or that time or in that moment. That's all it is. And so I just think this is so hilarious. It's like, it just is. I think it's so funny. And maybe it's just me. If you feel that, like, if you get where I'm coming from and you feel the same, I'd love to know. Or you don't, let me know why. Okay, so meanwhile, Juzu saved his account for the pilot in case he came back, but the pilot refused it and for some unknown reason started going off about Juzu. Okay, if that's true, I actually think kudos to Juzu. Eventually, Juzu and the pilot spoke privately and the situation quieted down. The pilot accepted Juzu's original account to pilot. Okay. All right. I mean, it seems like trying to make amends, right? Trying to problem solve as an R5. That's one of the key characteristics. Rumors started circulating about the R4 leaving and recruiting members by bad-mouthing Juzu. Juzu confronted him and he swore it was not true. A week later, Juzu gets confirmation that it was true. They have been bashing him since taking over our shared account and he was recruiting members. At this point, our leadership started convos on next steps for LTS with this big group leaving for days, ending with the conclusion to lay down the LTS flag and trying to get over to TFS. Juzu signed into his account. Original account install was tremendously behind, nothing being done on it, so he took the account back and kicked the pilot off the account. This is exactly what happened to the shared account as well. It was stacked. Billions of RSS gone, no farming done. I wonder if... Oh my God, hang on. I wonder if that is related to the meme. Where was the meme? Oh my God, hang on. Is it over here? Oh yeah, here it is. Is it related to this meme where it says, "Don't insult my RSS daddy sushi. I spent all the RSS." I don't know, but that's what just came to my mind when I read this line. Nothing being done on it, so he took the account back and was kicked the pilot off the account. This is exactly what happened. Oh, started, okay, billions RSS gone, no farm done. Dailies, pets, nothing being done. Found out the pilot dumped billions of RSS in one season to get 70 million merits only. Okay, so that also leads into some of the memes about the 70 mil merit, right? Where's some of those on oh, here's one. Is this one? Yeah. So maybe this was the season that happened where they talk about the 70 mil merits and they're making the memes about the 9. Now it feels like we're getting a little bit more context from another POV. So the account was drained after I stopped funding it. Oh, stopped funding it. So does that mean that plays into this one? Sashi missing Chico's wallet? Okay. But if it is, we're connecting some more dots now. Isn't it interesting how you can go from, like, when you have a lot of memes and you read through everything and then you're reading the POVs, replies, you're like, okay, hang on, that makes sense. Okay, I can pick a meme out and I'm feeling a little bit of a connection there. So stop funding it. I'm being reminded that I asked him several times to chill it on the account and blowing through the resources. Now insert a million memes of the pilot going at Juzu, stemming all the way back to my decision to turn the shared account over to Juzu. Juzu and I shared the account, funding from me. Pilot quit. I asked Juzu to take it over permanently. Juzu is a piece of shiitake. That's kind of what people were saying. They feel Juzu isn't active enough and doesn't deserve the account, but they're entitled to leeching arses to deserve it. She's going in. That's my girl. That's right. You tell her who it is. Okay, I mean, just damn. Juicy did not take over the account. He didn't strong arm me, didn't just change the password and say F everyone. I asked him to take it over. Okay, now I'm going to show you some screenshots that was provided to me, right? Lisa reaching out. Juicy, why don't you take LMB like permanently? So again, this is her saying that. Now you know about the meme, connecting the dot. Oh, that would be nice. Jutsu always out of troops whenever he fights. Okay, so someone else. Then we get another screenshot here, which is, are you 100% okay with me taking LMB, right? So asking doesn't seem like it's anything like that. 100% haven't been really happy with what was happening with it for a bit now. So this is probably referring to other people that were on it. Want someone who will be responsible and actually care for it. This is from the person themselves. I'm busy enough, so coming back to 3 accounts would be impossible for me. Oh, really? And yeah, I agree. Definitely want you to come back and not be overwhelmed to get burnt out trying to take care of them all. So I completely understand. I think this is a reasonable response. It doesn't seem like there's anything aggressive or passive aggressive or trying to bait or guilt into utilizing the account. This seems like a standard normal conversation. Just as an example, someone went on the other day and RSS healed all the infantry, didn't fight or anything, just RSS healed it all up and wasted the RSS. So again, this is like the third kind of double down on the point there from it. Now it is making it seem a lot more like, oh, well, maybe the account was being mismanaged at times. Again, I'm not going to say all the time because we don't have all the information, but at least for some of the time. So as it kind of started, right, and we look at everything holistically and objectively, the memes, and this is just based on what I know and what I've been told, the memes make it out to look one way, but then when we hear from Juzu, from Lisa, and then we connect those memes and the responses and the screenshots, okay, now it kind of looks like it's maybe not all what some people were making it out to be, right? So to me, I just think it's important to kind of show off both sides. And for those of you involved, you'll obviously know a lot more of what's going on than me. For those of you not involved, well, you can make up your mind on what you think. That's it for me. I'd love to know your thoughts in the comments down below. This was a great one, to be honest. Again, man, listen, like with anything, I wish LTS, whether they're staying in 134, for the people that are going to TFS, if you're going somewhere else, I wish everyone the best. I just enjoy covering these stories because I think there's a lot to talk about in the world of Call of Dragons, and there's a lot that happens, and being able to not only talk about it, share it, but also educate and do it in an informative way where I also give you my opinions on how I would view things if I was in the situation, and or my thoughts on just how something is playing out. It's one of the things that I really enjoy doing. So I hope you guys enjoy these story times that we give you, these news stories, me sharing you my thoughts, me sharing you POVs from both sides, what happened, and then what the result is right now. And hopefully, you get a kick out of it, or, just gives you something good to listen to maybe during the day on a drive. That's it for me as always. Until next time, we will catch you later.